Single parenting isn't easy. We understand. Most parents don't plan to go it alone, but you can still make the most of this journey for your children and yourself. In fact, if you and your family are on that journey, this podcast is for you. Welcome to the Single Parent Advocate community and to our podcast. And here are your hosts, single parent founder Stacy Poitras, and broadcast journalist, single dad and friend, Daryl Moody.
Hello there. Welcome back. This is the Single Parent Advocate podcast. I am Daryl Moody, joining you from my home studios here in Orlando. Stacy, the Single Parent Advocate. She is at the Work Innovator Studio at Venture X Castle Hills, the Realm. The fine folks there. We want to thank them. Stacy, we also have a guest. Her name is Chaney Mullins Gooley. We're going to talk to her about a really exciting partnership collaboration that Single Parent Advocate is engaging in with her organization, her plan. We'll get into that in a minute. But Stacy, the holidays are upon us. Some people are still picking at the turkey leftovers. I know you guys have been very busy. This is a very busy time of the year for you. Lots of outreach, lots of events. What has Single Parent Advocate been up to?
Oh my gosh, Daryl, you're right. We had a wonderful, wonderful outreach for Thanksgiving, serving 100 families. 100 families, when I say 100 families, I can think about all of the 350 children that those 100 families represent, so it is no small task to feed almost 500 people and bless them. And so I am super grateful and excited for our team, our sponsors and donors, Lovers Lane United Methodist Church, Huffines, automotive dealerships, Matthew 6 Ministries. I could go on and on about all the people that leaned in that day. And so I certainly hope everybody knows how grateful we are for their part in our Thanksgiving outreach. And then, we just turn the corner and start stirring the pot for Christmas. We're checking our list and making it twice. Families are registering, our elves are shopping, and we're still raising funds for Giving Tuesday and trying to drive year-end giving and really bring everything in for a firm landing right into the middle of a Christmas wonderland for families here in North Texas. And it's fun. It's really wonderful.
Well, and obviously with Christmas still a few weeks away, you are probably in the process of still signing up more families who need support.
Absolutely.
Talk to me about that process. How many families do you have signed up now? And if somebody is listening and wants to be a part of the event, how can they get involved?
So families get nominated for our Single Parent Advocate Safe Social program, which is Mother's Day, Father's Day, Back to School, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. We take up to 100 families in the North Texas area, and we basically bring them and their children together. So how a family would become eligible for our program is that an organization like the one we're going to meet today, her plan, they would say, hey, we met a family and they're in your area in North Texas where you have feet on the street, and we'd love to introduce you to this parent and their children and see if you could add them to the Christmas outreach program. And so area church, school, other nonprofit can certainly get in touch with me. That is simply by sending an email to stacy.poitras@singleparentadvocate.org. You can also message us on Facebook.
Fantastic. Very, very exciting. Talk to me about the volunteer effort. How many elves do you have participating in the Christmas program?
Oh, the elves are stirring. We will have probably about 40 students. Another group that's really cool is PNC Bank. They're sending a very large troop to help us. And then we have a wonderful new partner I'm very excited about. They're bringing books and games for all the kids of all ages. And we are going to continue to move forward with Santa coming to visit. Well, everybody will get pictures in our traditions, pre-COVID traditions. Pre-COVID, we had this celebration for many, many years, and then we had to move to a hybrid event like many outreaches did. But now we're going to be full meal deal all back together again in Lewisville, Texas, and it's going to be a mosh pit of Christmas love.
Very, very exciting. Of course, singleparentadvocate.org if you want to connect with that. We're all over the social media pages. We've got Instagram, Facebook. Are we on Twitter? We're on Twitter, aren't we?
Yes, we're on
Yes,
Twitter.
we're on Twitter.
The best way to communicate with us, because we are 100% volunteer run, however, is through Facebook. That is where we have the most representation from our volunteer group to be able to monitor the messages.
And if somebody wanted to nominate a family, that's a good way to do it as well, correct?
Yes, or they can email me, as I mentioned earlier.
Fantastic. Well, let's get into our guest that we have this week. Her name is Chaney Mullins Gooley. And, typically, Stacey, you are really good at finding guests. But in this case, Chaney found us.
Yes, Chaney and her team. And I was so surprised. And I was like, sometimes because our website has been so popular, because largely the resource page that's on Single Parent Advocate, there's anywhere from 10 to 12,000 people that view that resource page every month. And we're considered organic and honest list and website for people to go to who are looking for answers, whether it's resources or on the blog. And that's why those are the prominent things that you see on there about our outreaches. And so I get emails a lot. I get emails from people that want me to consider putting their resources on our resource tab or have them listed on our blog. And I'm kind of protective about that, honestly, for everyone out there. There's been times when people wanted me to put things on the website about, senior care or some topics that can be important to single parents and to any family, of course. We all have different things, but I don't know. I just haven't felt very led to add ancillary topics like that to our website. I really kind of feel like we need to stay in our lane. How can you be single and how can you be parenting? And if it's single parenting related, then I'm usually right on it. And if not, I just invite somebody to write a blog that would be, really directed toward a single parent and or their children or their parenting experience. And usually somebody, when I respond that way, will say, no, we can't write a blog. And I'm like, well, if you can't address our population specifically with what it is you're providing, I don't really feel good about putting your link up on our website. So we're kind of pure and agnostic that way online. And so when I met these guys in my email, it was so fun because I was like, okay, I'm going to follow the link. Okay, I'm going to talk to her plan. Oh, this is really interesting. I need to take a look at this. And I was so impressed with the directory that has been created for single families and at multiple stages of the single parenting journey. And so I'm excited to explore this and explore it from a community perspective.
Well, Chaney, tell us a little bit about your story. How did you become involved with Her Plan? And tell me how you sought Stacey out.
Well, at Her Plan, we go a-looking for all kinds of resources to fill up our directory. So Her Plan, we are the connector. We facilitate collaboration. That's what we're all about. And we have two major products, a church guide with ideas for how churches can engage with assistance providers, just in the ways that you guys were describing with your wonderful Thanksgiving and Christmas programming. And then we have our directory. And our directory, people aren't really sure what we mean when we say a directory at first. And what we have built is really a custom software that allows for filtering and the identification of the very best resource for a specific woman or family in need. And that can be transformative for the people that are needing more help and needing a safety net. And we work adding in national virtual resources, but also local resources that have been vetted, that have gotten back to us that have gone through our compliance process and that have given us permission to be listed on our main map. And then we have an additional resources directory where there's even more government and community resources there. So it's been so exciting to see it grow. We now have a directory in 11 states, and our goal is 30 states within the next few years. And we cover the gamut of medical, social, and material needs. It's very important to be comprehensive for us. This isn't just about one need. It's about having one place to go where every need can be addressed, because it's so difficult for an assistance provider to have to scour multiple websites to try to find, go here for a shelter, go here for a counselor, go here for a lawyer. We thought it might be so much easier to bring everything together into one map that could be filtered based on a particular family's needs.
And there have been directories like that I've come across. There was Alice for a long time. And, Alice has certain compliance requirements in order for an organization to be listed there, and GuideStar, and there's a big directory of resources there. And those folks in that directory also have a certain compliance to be listed and given a certain level of review there. And so whether you're looking on GuideStar on Alice, you're looking on Susan B. Anthony or Her Plan or Single Parent Advocate, the point that all of us are saying is no matter where you stand on, how you arrived at a single parent journey, the net of help is being built because you matter. You matter and your kids matter, right? So I have to ask you a question.
Yes.
So I never asked this in our emails, but what has been your own experience with single parenting?
So I'm not a single parent myself, but I know many, of course, and it's really struck me that my very first experience as a teenager encountering a single mom was in my ballet studio, and a woman quit ballet in order to be able to have her baby. And at the time, I was admiring of her sacrifice, but at the same time, I was judgmental. And it really strikes me looking back on how uninformed I was and how much I needed to have my own heart transformed in the way that I looked at single parenting and in the way that I addressed the needs of my community. And I really now believe that there's so many more people that could get on this bandwagon of helping single parents if they just understood a little bit more, if they just opened their heart to their story and their journey. And I just regret so much my former attitude, but am also aware that sometimes the converts make the best activists. And it's so amazing to have myself, other people on my team. They have come to a place where maybe they just came from caring about children. And now, being a part of Her Plan, they have had their hearts completely open to the needs of women and the needs of families. And really, there should never be a pitting against mom and child. There is the togetherness of the beautiful maternal bond or paternal bond. And when we're talking about single parents, you cannot neglect the entire unit. And so at Her Plan, our scope is both the mom and the child, pregnant and parenting women and families from conception to age 2. And many of the providers listed in our directory also help beyond that. And it's so exciting to see whether a woman's pregnant or maybe there's a single dad with a young child. There could be a struggling family. Whatever the situation or the scenario is, Her Plan can help. And it's not just at a moment of a pregnancy decision. You could walk into a shelter with a newborn or with a 1-year-old or young toddler and still get help from the Her Plan providers.
Oh, that's just great. I always, in my own story, I was a single mom and I raised my son on my own. And I really always struggled with that and maybe on the other side of the fence a little, like we want to encourage families, and it's always a good decision and a wonderful decision. And I think it's a wonderful decision that someone would have a child. There's nothing more beautiful in my life than my son, right? But as I was approaching that decision, I also, was stuck. I wanted to know what help is out there for me, and at the time, there wasn't. And many of that, many parts of that journey, I believe, were kind of ordained in my life. And I get to do what I'm doing now because I've set myself aside for it. And I'm honored to be in the lives of families like mine. So you talked a lot about being exposed to single families. And I just, I like to ask this question, that day that you felt like you weren't fair in your mind with that particular person, does that memory impact how you give, how you operate, what you do today as you come across more single families and the people that you choose to partner with?
Absolutely. I think it reminds me about compassion. It reminds me about helping them both. We have a Her Plan sticker that says help them both. And it has a little picture of a mom's face looking at a baby's face. And I think that that's the message I'm always trying to keep with me, regardless of the situation of the family I'm encountering. Now I've had a really good friend at my former church who was a single mom. I have a mother-in-law who's a widow. I have a best friend who just went through a divorce and is a single mom. I have a person I know who just adopted as a single mom. My mom's best friend from high school is a single dad. And I've been through seasons where I know families that the dad is so busy that the mom is functionally a single mom. And so it's just so interesting, no matter what the journey is of the particular family or the particular situation that has resulted in single parenthood, there has to be support. There has to be a safety net. You are not alone. And there are so many providers out there that want to help, that their whole mission is to help. And the real tragedy is how little awareness there is about the amount of help available.
That's right. That's right. And especially when the early years, especially when the children are so young and, it's hard to see past the front door some mornings, it's like, whoa, right? So, yeah. Well, so what message would you give families and their children? Like this is not, necessarily some slogan I'm asking for. Like, if you had a message, if Chaney had a message that she'd like to share based on your experience with single moms and the organizations that support them, and certainly single fathers, not forgetting Daryl there, what would you say? What's the writing on your heart's wall?
I really don't want people to be afraid to ask for help. Because there's so many individuals and organizations that want to help. And I do think there is still a sense of shame or overwhelm or fear that you're going to burden someone. And of course, the other people can tell you if they're not able to help in a way that you need help. But there also is that opportunity to point you to someone else that can. So at Her Plan, we don't provide direct services to women, but I get emails often in my inbox from women in really difficult situations, and I'm able to send them to our partners at Loveline and Life Options Network. And Loveline, for example, is a great hotline that's mission is all about saying, yes, we can meet your need. Yes, we will either find someone that can, or we will do it ourselves, no matter what that need is. And so it's really inspiring to be able to let these people know, well done for reaching out for help. And there is help. We can say yes to your needs.
I have a nuts and bolts question. And when you connect somebody, a mother or an expectant mother in need of prenatal care or OBGYN care, that sort of thing, and the doctors essentially provide that service free of charge. Is there a mechanism to compensate that provider for that care, or are they essentially volunteering on their own? And if so, is there an advantage or a reason why a care provider would donate their services, that sort of thing?
Great question. So we actually allow a price filter in our directory. So we're able to list market rate, sliding fee scale, Medicaid, discounts or negotiable rates, all within our system. And so if there is a provider that, for example, is market rate, they can still be listed with their OBGYN business or doula business or legal law firm, what have you. But often other providers will want to help supplement so they can get that good care. So, for example, a lot of women start at what's called a pregnancy care center or a pregnancy care clinic. And a lot of pregnancy centers don't do any form of prenatal care. But there's a great model where her plan started in Northern Virginia, where they're able to send a woman to a wonderful life-affirming OB and supplement that cost so that the OB can afford to see an additional woman in need. And so those kinds of organic relationships of provider helping provider happen through the Her Plan network. And we'd like to get to the point where there's even local communities where we bring our churches together and we bring our providers together and we talk about gaps, financial gaps, gaps in a service that's not available in a particular area, and try to come up with strategies to fill that gap. And so we actually have full-time employees called state coordinators. And currently we have 5 state coordinators in Virginia, West Virginia, Georgia, Mississippi, and Texas. And we're looking to hire in Missouri and Tennessee as well. And their full-time job is to facilitate this networking, helping providers get to know each other, helping churches get to know providers. And there are powerful collaborations that really come out of that.
And if we, let's say we have someone listening to us and they're either a care provider or they know someone who is, how do they get connected with you? Can you give them the proper email address or whatever contact information?
Absolutely. info@herplan.org comes directly to me. Easy. Email me anytime. We also have links on herplan.org directly to see the directory. You can give feedback. There's contact forms if you want to recommend a resource that you think we should list. We definitely want to hear from all kinds of providers. And like I said, we're going into 30 states plus virtual national providers. So even if you're not sure if we're in your state, no harm in emailing. We'd love to connect with you.
Chaney, I just want to thank you for being here. At the end of the day, you guys, Daryl and Chaney and I were talking, getting ready to do this conversation. And there was this really peaceful moment as we got ready to hit record. And that peaceful moment was nothing matters more than the parents and the children. No matter where or how we land in becoming a single parent, nothing matters more than you. It doesn't matter how you get there. It doesn't matter. We just all agree right here that we want to help. And I thought, gosh, that's just exactly what I've always had in my heart. And I know Daryl too.
Well, Stacy and I can tell you, from almost 2 years of doing this show, this is what we envision the Single Parent Advocate podcast to be, is a highway or throughway, if you will, to connect our listeners with folks like you, Chaney, who are doing very important work and providing service to folks who are maybe underserved, underinsured for whatever reason. And hopefully we'll be able to, share stories down the road of how folks heard you on our show, and that was how they were able to connect with you. So I think I speak for Stacy when I say this is why we do the podcast.
Absolutely. You never know who you're going to meet and how you can pay it forward into the lives of families like yours. And I always say, I'll say it again, the best gift you can give a child is a happy, healthy, whole, and hopeful parent. And I do mean mom or dad or grandparent or auntie, whatever it looks like in your own family, you fit here. So we hope you guys have a wonderful Christmas. We'll be back in 2023 with a whole lot more. And, I think we'll just keep doing what we're doing. Right, Daryl?
Absolutely. It's going to be a Big 2023.
All right. Bye, everybody. We'll see you next time. Thank you, Chaney.
Thanks again, Chaney. Bye, folks.